Hello there everyone and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. So just here at dawn, I've heard some thoughts that the mystery cow might moo at dawn. So I've been listening for a bit. Nothing so far. But, yeah, you know, sometimes it's just worth listening, grabbing shots at a different time, seeing the shadows of Kerbal Space Center. So today, I have waffled on exactly what I was going to do today a couple times. I sat down off camera and did a little work. Specifically, I redesigned the heavy lift portion of my interplanetary ship and, of course, the lander portion. So I'll show you this, but this isn't actually what we're going to fly today. I have a different plan. Just want to show you what it looks like. So what I've done is I've added the super big tanks, the new super big tanks that apparently were provided at the most recent tech stage. Double Rockomaxes, 6 of them around the outside. These are throttled to 75%. They still give a hell of a punch. This thing lifts like a bat out of hell. Not uncontrollably, but it's definitely got some serious punch to it. On the uppermost stage, a little redesigning here too. The biggest being, I have made the solar array disposable. It's just not going to be reasonable to try and land with that without controlled descent, and I don't have the power to get there with a controlled descent vehicle yet, eventually. So we'll ditch that, and this section, I'm actually thinking about rotating these 180 degrees, and I don't know it would make much difference. I think there's enough. I think they're visible enough, even without the shadows. It should be fine. So all the batteries, RCS control, all the science equipment is all up on the top stage now. 4 parachutes. And this thing landed, I sent this up into orbit, and this thing landed with mass to spare. I had contemplated putting some of the super big drog chutes on there too, but they were just too much trouble to attach. So anyways, this is what's going to be eventually our interplanetary rig. And I say eventually because that's not what we're doing today. This is going to be the Kerbal Minmus Express Mark 1. Yep, that's right. We are sending a Kerbal to Minmus. And what we need to know first, this is the important part, because I know how well this thing flies with the mass that it has up here right now. What we need to know is this. That weighs 24.5 units. I'm just calling them units because I don't know exactly. I'm pretty sure it's tons. So it's a 24 point, I'm just writing this down, 0.5 T. So if I can design a manned vehicle that is similar, if not identical, we're just going to drop this whole mess in here as the Interplanetary Mark II. And we're going to see how much mass the how much mass we can make a manned unit with the recycling portion on it. So let's just leave that there. So this all has to go because that's not the design we're using. We are using a standard Mark II command pod. And this is the part which I need to know. I don't know the answer to this. We have, where is it? Somewhere in here we have a recycling unit. It must be attached directly to the module. Okay. It consumes a great deal of power while under operation. So power is going to be an interesting challenge here. All right, so if we assume that we have to, I wonder how directly it's got to be. Can it? I'm going to assume the worst. I'm going to assume that that thing has to be basically direct. That it won't work without being completely attached to that thing. So we're going to use the 2.5. Is it the 2.5? Is that the right size heat shield? I want to say that it should be possible to put a heat shield. Let's use the bigger one. There we go. That'll make sure these guys get back alive. And then on the top, we're going to put a docking port for emergency use, because manned missions are always risky, and having a docking port there just means that I could send somebody up to rendezvous with it if something goes horribly wrong. We're going to put 4 parachutes on top of this one instead of 3, under the assumption that edge snapping, there we are. That should work a little better. Under the assumption that it's just necessary. Yeah, so, okay, so this is 12.7, it's already 12 tons, so that's pretty crazy. So what we're going to need is a extra large stack separator. Separates using explosive bolts and whatnot. I hope. Come on. What the heck happened there? Well, let's see what happens. We need to put next our inline stabilizer. I guess that's the way it's supposed to look. I really am not sure about that being completely inside of the... I hope that's just... You know what? No, well, let's use the proper size. I'm sure... Whoops. Yeah, okay, something wasn't right there. Of course, I'm doing design on camera, but some days that just has to happen. Okay. So we absolutely know for absolute certain that we can't get back from Minmus without a recycling unit. I can't say for sure if that recycling unit will work not attached directly, and I haven't quite got any idea how I'm going to test that yet, but let's just use a stack decoupler here. That's just standard technology. Okay, and then we need that. So far we're up to only that heat shield is heavy beast. All right, so 9 tons. We will grab a 12 tons. I removed the solar panels from that previous design. So there's our RCS, such as it is. Now we're going to need, in the science department, the only thing we need is a communicatron to transmit data home. And that communicatron we will put 1. We'll put 2 on. How much do these things weigh? 0.025, the same as a little less than a thermometer. So we can afford to put 2 on to keep this thing stable. And then we'll put on a nice large handful of multi-directional thrusters on here. Put the full 8 on. That should do. Well, let's make it 6. There we are. That should work a little better. Much better. Okay, looking good. So far, so good. All right. RCS in place. Now we need the electricity. And we're going to need... We're going to go with... Yeah, those are heavy. 1, 2, 3 of those. I wonder what made the previous design so heavy. 3 of those. Now I'm trying to remember if that solar array was adequate to keep the power on a manned mission. I want to say that I should add 1 more ring of solar panels to it. I mean, I know there's a risk they're going to rip off. God, let's put a 4th one of these on. And then a nice... Nope, that should do. It's 19. I think... Let me see. We've got RCS. We've got batteries. We've got a recycling unit. I think I've got everything. What was making that other design so much heavier? It's the heat shield, isn't it? That heat shield must weigh an insane 4.2 by itself. Okay. And this one only weighs 1.6. So it's 4 times heavier than the previous model, which explains a lot. Okay. Okay, let's bring in the stack separator. No, we don't need to separate the solar portion. So we need The Interplanetary Mark II. I think I spelled that wrong, didn't I? That's okay. Okay, so that goes right there, except without the separation portion right there. The question is this a reasonable... There we are. Is this a reasonable thing to do? I can't see any reason why not. Oh boy, those are hard to attach. Let's just undo that. Let's assume if we copy this here and put it right there. Come on. All right, right there. Come on, there we go. All right. And right there. Because power is always an issue on manned flights, and why shouldn't we make this thing as absurd and insane as possible? 4. That's an insane solar array, let me tell you. I think it'll be okay, but I don't know for sure. Okay, so it says here in fine print, this is only marginally, you know what, I can always abort if the power isn't stable. So let's try the version without these stupid, insane extra panels, because I worry about the strength and stability of the structure and about my ability to bring this ship back. Come on, you connect already? We're almost ready to go. All right, zooming in, come on, link up right. Come on, there we go, right there. No. Ah, here we go. There we are. 2, 3, and 4. All right. Next up, we need to check our stacks. Looking good here. Oh, other than the fact that they're deep in the ground. Oh, and we need to make sure we are only manned with 1 Kerbal, because that will stretch our life support as well if we're only keeping 1 guy alive instead of 3. That's my belief, and I'm sticking to it. So Lars gets the fortune of being the go-to guy once again. Apparently, the 3 classics are not returning to life anytime soon. Okay, so now we need 2 hotkeys. We need to be able to deploy these on, not on stage. We need to toggle those on 1. And then on custom 2, we need to set our crew report. And save. Okay. It says here in fine print, this should be ready to go. Oh, almost. Let's not use up our good monopropellant before the lower stage monopropellant has been consumed as well. Oh, okay. This thing is insane, and I'm sure it's going to be a monster to fly, but I think this will be good to go. To the launch pad, and hopefully there is only 1 Kerbal inside of the can. Otherwise I will have to revert the launch and fly it again. Oh, man. This is unnerving. I just wish I could remember what I marked as being the 24.5 tons, but I think this is going to be good. I think we're going to be okay. 1 Kerbal in the ship. Throttling up to 90%. Launch 100. We'll launch at 100. Launching in 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Looking good. Looking very good. Now that center stage will burn off faster than the outer ring. That's just minor design flaw. Oop. All right, a little less, a little less. Don't overheat. Don't overheat. Don't overheat. No overheating allowed. There we are. I think I got it. I have lots of guts in this system still. This is looking really good. My theory is if this is powerful enough to get me to Mars, it should be powerful enough to get a guy back from Minmus. I don't know if that is a reasonable assumption, but it's the assumption I'm going with. Minmus is almost small enough you could almost land the poor guy just with his thrusters. You're not having fun, Lars? I am sorry to hear that. I just get an extra chuckle out of flying Lars in this ship because, of course, my friend Lars is plays with me on Better Than Wolves, so keeping him alive is kind of a good thing. But taking risks is also a good thing, so you can't win them all. Okay, it doesn't look like anything interesting is going to happen on the way up, so I will meet you in orbit, and we will plan our transition to Kerbin from there. But just in case something happens while staging, I have to keep talking. It's a funny life, isn't it? Alright, let's slow down just a little here. I mean, we're doing well, but we don't want to, you know, rip things off as we continue up into the upper atmosphere. That would be horrifically tragic. You know, just to mess with you guys, I might just keep you here even though nothing happens. No, I wouldn't do that. That would be a terrible, terrible thing to do. A horrible abuse of your viewership. I'm not interested in doing things like that, so far so good. We won't really know how the batteries are doing until the alternators kick in. Yeah. Oh, the recycling unit. I'm not sure if I have enough power to manage the recycling, so that'll be interesting to find out. We're just about to transition to the upper atmosphere, throttling down a bit more as we transition. Our acceleration is continuing quite nicely. I think this ship might need one more set of solar panels. Oh, there go the center engines. Our speed, but we are high enough in the atmosphere now that the 6 remaining engines are more than enough to continue throttling up. We will be switching to the stage 2 engines in a moment. Just a little bit more. Looking good. If these last me until I'm in the upper atmosphere, I will be extremely happy. Extremely happy indeed. Because that would be just about the most optimal... I should disable the electric on this. There we are. Command pod electrics are disabled. Life support seems to be lasting quite nicely with just the one guy. It hasn't even ticked down one yet. Nice. So this rig will get me well up into the upper atmosphere before I even have to ditch the lowest stage, which is very good indeed. Nice. Here we go. We're going up. We are also doing a bit more of a gravity turn. We're going to need our RCS now. That's what I put those 2 little extra tanks on for. Was for this part of the boost in its entirety. So about 100 kilometers for Minmus. For most interplanetary work, 100 kilometers is more than adequate. So we'll boost this most of the way there, and then we'll kill the engines shortly. And wait until our optimal moment for our orbital burn. Hopefully we can get to Minmus without hitting the moon. It's quite a hazard to navigation getting out of the solar system with a big bloody moon in the way. Okay, getting ready to cut the engines in 3, 2, 1, 0, cut. And then we'll rotate this to... And electric's looking good. We have solar panels are online and they are maintaining energy flow. Oh, no, they are just... No, they are not. They are not sufficient. Damn it. Should have known. Well, I could just let this go. We could re-enter. But I believe the most appropriate response is... Okay, so it's 0.1. How much are each of these producing? 0.01. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 will produce... So these are all producing their basic minimal level, which is point. Is there anything I can turn off that will save power? SAS, not really. Not really at all. Okay, so this thing doesn't have the battery power to bring this guy back alive, I can guarantee you. I need this thing to be a recharging system, not a dying system. So, some days I might just cut the entire launch out. Let's just revert to vehicle assembly. I would have just let that thing burn up in the atmosphere anyways, brought him down. The thing would land no problem. That much I can say for sure. So we need to get... Let me... Pardon me for a few minutes while I figure out how I can squeeze another set of solar panels on here. I will be back. I will say, if this thing fails as spectacularly as it looks like it could, this will be amusing regardless of what happens. So, launching in 3, 2, 1. Well, we're still lifting, so that's good. So some of the most interesting stuff happens in the very first minutes of the flight. So, slow it down. There we are. We are stable. It's a little less stable to fly, that's for sure, with that big frigging mass on the top of it. But okay, so barring anything interesting, I'll see you in orbit. Like, you know, last time's failed power system. I really do think this is going to work out okay. This thing does have power and speed to spare in spite of everything. So I have high hopes that this will work out the way I want it to. Stable, speed stable. I guess I could pull one of these off if things were looking okay. It's probably an excessive amount of power. I really do need to learn a little bit more about exactly how much power I need to do these jobs. But hopefully bigger batteries or nuclear reactors or something are in my future, because that's the only way we're getting a manned mission back. The solar... I guess more compact, better solar panels would help too. That's going to be in the next tech tier though. I know there's a batch, if not improved, certainly solar panels that fold up into a more compact and easily managed form than these things do. And so far so good. Just carve a little more speed off the system there. There we go. I'm just glad that this hasn't destabilized the ship completely. That is a huge relief, to say the least. Okay, just about to transition into the fiery part of the atmosphere. So let's be careful how much more speed we gain in there. There's always also that G-forces issue. The more G's I put into this thing, the more likely it is this mess will rip off, which would be hysterical, but not entirely helpful for my long-term prognosis with this mission. And we continue gaining speed at a nice rate because we just transitioned. Even though those engines have shut down, we are still slowly gaining speed. And slowly is fast enough. That's the honest truth. Okay. So we are perfect time because our orbit is going to be towards the sun, which will let us test these batteries just like last time, as soon as we are even approaching the orbital phase of this flight. Let's just give ourselves a little bit more of a gravity turn while these air controls are still intact. Ooh, there we are. SAS on, not off. There we go. Okay. Looking good. Looking very good indeed. Not quite as high of an apoapsis at this stage as we had in our last flight, but that's okay. That is okay. That's what happens when you add this much extra mass to the thing. Still, 40 kilometers is very respectable. Very respectable apoapsis, which we have not passed yet. And full throttle to these engines to begin the process of really bringing us up into that orbital point. Hopefully, they're not powerful enough to rip my solar panels off, because that would suck immensely. Okay, so we're raising our apoapsis, but we're also raising our periapsis because of our current angle of burn. Come on, ship. Get her up. Definitely having a little more trouble on the burn side of this than we were in previous attempts, but so far still looking good, because this stage is one I want to leave behind in Kerbal. I don't want to have this stuck in orbit if I can at all avoid it. Orbital hazards are getting up there, so I'll have to be careful in the future. And, oh, there we are. We're past the atmosphere at least, but we still want to get this thing higher if we can. Oh, RCS. Yes, RCS would be handy. There we go. That's what this was for. Almost at the point where we're going to shut that engine down and see where our solar panels stand. In fact, above 90 should do it. 3, 2, 1, and kill it. And let's see if this is a, indeed, stable electrical system we have. It's looking promising. We need to tilt ourselves down to the optimal orbital burn. Hopefully we can still, sure looks like we are at stable production here. Can't say for sure, but I think what I'm seeing is pretty promising. I left that disabled, right? Yes. And that is active, which means we should be under control. 3, 2, 1. Burn, full throttle. This is it. This is our orbital burn. We want a little, not too much going into our apoapsis at this stage, but not zero either. And lots and lots and lots into our periapsis as we prepare to throttle this thing up to 100%. There we go. Come on, don't fail me now, orbital burn. Alright, we still gaining speed? We are still gaining speed. Are we still gaining enough speed? I hope so. I think I only need to limit this guy down to like 90% or something. Still looking good. We're still putting a little into our apoapsis, but the vast majority of our speed is going into the periapsis, exactly as we want. I don't know if that number is coming up fast enough yet, though. But we're definitely going to be using these top-tier engines to finish the final burn. But we knew that anyways. Hopefully with the distance we're going, it's not going to be a big deal. But this thing by itself, this middle stage is a little underpowered now, I think. We'll see. Slow and it's not all about power, but we're transitioning in 3, 2, 1. Uh-oh. Why aren't those going? Engines? Oh god, no, did I? No. Oh, shoot. Ah, shoot. Apparently these were both on the same stage together. Okay. See you at the launch pad. Or, you know what? I'm just going to redo this and I'll bring you back in off camera. We'll reconvene right here. Alright, and hopefully our third and final orbital burn attempt for the episode. 3, 2, 1, 0. Full throttle to the engines. Looking good. We want to put less of that into our apoapsis. There we are. We're pretty close to stable. Yeah, functionally stable. That's a good spot right there. That apoapsis is rising a very small amount, but not perilously fast. I want some control over this burn. I don't want to totally lose it. The skipper's already at 100%, but it's definitely uses... I thought it used it a lot faster. Weird. Okay. Oh, too much into that apoapsis. Come on, periapsis. Nope, don't want to lose. Oh, crap. Well, that might actually work okay. That may actually work just fine. That was distinctively the wrong button, though. I cannot believe how this day has been going. Let's just not use those engines quite yet. We'll get as much as we can out of this skipper first, and then throttle up to full. Let's just hope we can keep it steady. Alright, we'll disable that, and disable that, and enable that one. Okay, that worked out not terrible. I think it's going to be okay. I don't think that was enough to completely botch this mission, just enough to make it a little bit of a hard stopper. Alright. So we're definitely very expensive on the periapsis here, getting us into orbit. We've definitely used some of our fuel, and I mean 90% of the fuel that we used in previous missions is used to get to Minmus. Alright, so we're in an orbit, we're in a rising orbit, and in a few moments, kill it. Good enough. Okay, so the all-important question, if I center this on the sun, are we at least at a stable light situation? Or a stable... Yes, we are. We can produce more electricity than this ship takes to run. Without any doubt in my mind. Alright, let's find our departure window. We'll set it up. There it is. Oh, yep, that is it. Alright, and we will set a maneuver there. Way more than we need. Less. Oops. I may have adjusted our inclination slightly, but we do have precise node back, so Let's see. We'll go I-10s. Where are we relative to where it is? Are we getting closer or further? Further. So we need to leave sooner with a little bit more. Whoop, a lot less than that, but a little sooner. No, a little sooner. And then we'll add a very small amount of prograde burning. We're almost there. I'm getting close. Aha! Let's see how close we're coming. 200,000. That's respectable distance for. All right, we'll do it by 0.1s now. Let's see. Are we getting closer or further? Further. So we actually dropped that a little. Okay, well, I ain't touching that again. That is too good. All right, that's just going to bring me in. If I adjust the normal slightly, let's see, what normal are we on? All right, we're getting further away, not closer. Ideally, I want it to come out nice and flat. I want sort of a planar. Add one. No, that's way too far. Subtract. Interesting. All right, that really is as good as it's going to get. We'll just have to adjust our return orbit as appropriate. Okay, where's our target? 26 minutes until our node. And we should be able to manage our power quite effectively for this trip. And so yeah, in 25 minutes we will make our burn into orbit, and in the next episode, since we had a particularly derpy episode today, we will fly to Minmus and return. Thank you all very much for watching. I will see you in the next episode.